What would you do if you were thrown into prison for 27 years? Simply for asking for equality. If your jailers mocked you, tortured your people, and took away the best years of your life, would you forgive them? Most of us wouldn't. But Nelson Mandela did. And that decision didn't just change South Africa. It changed the world. This is not just the story of a man. This is the story of what it means to be free. Even behind bars, Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela was born in 1918, in a small village without electricity or roads. His birth name meant troublemaker, and somehow it was prophetic. He grew up under apartheid, a brutal system of racial segregation enforced by law. Black South Africans couldn't vote, couldn't live in white areas, couldn't even walk on certain sidewalks. It wasn't just discrimination, it was state-sponsored humiliation. Mandela didn't accept it. He studied law, he organized protests, he co-founded South Africa's first black law firm, and then he was branded a terrorist. Mandela tried peaceful resistance for years, but the government responded with bullets. So he went underground, formed a militant wing, and said, "There comes a time when you must fight fire with fire." He was arrested, and in 1964, sentenced to life in prison. At his trial, he said words that shook the courtroom. "I have cherished the ideal of a democratic and free society. It is an ideal for which I am prepared to die." Then, silence. For 27 years, on Robben Island, Mandela was forced to break rocks in the hot sun. He slept on the floor. He was denied visitors for years, but he didn't break. Instead of becoming bitter, he became wiser. He read, he meditated, he taught other prisoners about leadership and dignity. He turned a prison into a university of resistance. His captors tried to crush him. Instead, they grew to respect him, and when apartheid began to collapse, the world turned to the only man who could save South Africa from civil war: Nelson Mandela. In 1990, Mandela walked out of prison with his fist raised, but his heart open. He could have called for revenge. Instead, he called for peace. 4 years later, he became South Africa's first black president. But here's what shocked the world. He hired his former prison guards. He invited white generals to lunch. He even wore the jersey of South Africa's mostly white rugby team, turning a symbol of division into one of unity.
He once said, "If you want to make peace with your enemy, you must work with your enemy. Then he becomes your partner." America couldn't look away. From the South Bronx to San Francisco, Mandela became a symbol of what's possible. When justice triumphs over fear and love defeats hate, presidents from Reagan to Obama invoked his name. He was celebrated by Black Americans who saw him as a brother in struggle, by veterans of the Civil Rights Movement, by white Americans who saw in him the promise of a better humanity. In 1994, he told an American crowd, "Our freedom is incomplete without the freedom of the Palestinians." He didn't just speak for his people. He spoke for all who suffered. Mandela stepped down after one term. He didn't cling to power. He gave it away freely. When he died in 2013, he left behind no riches, no empire, just a model of what it means to lead with grace. He proved you don't need to hold a sword to change the world. Sometimes, you just need to hold your enemy's hand.